Have you ever woken up between 3 and 5 a.m. and thought, why again? The room is still, the world outside silent. You glance at the clock. Those glowing red numbers read 3:13 a.m. Your heart beats just a little faster. The blanket feels strangely cold. And there it is again, that familiar sense of alertness, as if your body has decided it's time to be awake, while your mind begs for sleep. If this sounds like you, know this: you're not alone. This quiet hour, often brushed off as just another restless night, can actually carry deeper meaning. It may be your body, your mind, or even your emotions trying to speak to you in the only way they know how. In this article, we'll gently explore why so many older women wake during this time, and more importantly, we'll walk through 5 calming, science-supported steps to turn these wake-ups into moments of clarity, not chaos. So grab a cozy cup of tea, settle in, and let's talk about what your 3 a.m. wake-up might really mean. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing or leaving a comment later. Your story might help someone else feel a little less alone. So what exactly is happening during those early hours, and why does it feel so familiar, yet so frustrating? Let's begin with what many of us know all too well, the 3 a.m. awakening. It always starts the same way. You open your eyes. The room is dark, but not entirely silent. The distant hum of the refrigerator, the ticking clock. You shift slightly, then glance toward the bedside table. 4:12 a.m., glowing in quiet red. You didn't plan to wake up, but now your mind is fully alert. Your thoughts begin to drift or race. Did I pay that bill? Why did she sound distant yesterday? Is this normal? This kind of middle-of-the-night awakening isn't rare. In fact, it's surprisingly common among older adults, especially women. And yet, no one seems to talk about it. You might even feel like your body is betraying you, or blame yourself for not being able to just fall back asleep. But here's the truth: it's not your fault. As we age, our sleep cycles naturally change. Hormonal shifts, emotional stress, health conditions, and even medications can fragment the sleep we once took for granted. Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. isn't a personal failing. It may actually be a signal. Your body may be trying to talk to you through changes in rhythm, through restlessness, through quiet moments of awareness that you didn't ask for, but now must sit with. Take Margaret, for example. She's 72 and has always been a solid sleeper. But after losing her husband last year, she found herself waking up at 4:12 a.m. almost every night, not with a scream or a jolt, but with a hollow stillness. At first, she tried to fight it. She'd lie there, eyes closed tight, willing sleep to return, but it didn't. Instead, her heart would race. Her mind would replay memories, conversations, regrets. What Margaret didn't realize is that her wakefulness was grief expressing itself, not insomnia. Her body was holding unspoken emotions, and it was choosing this still hour to let them surface. Sometimes the 3 a.m. hour isn't about sleep at all. It's about what we've carried into the night: fear, loss, unresolved thoughts. And while that may sound overwhelming, it also presents an opportunity. When we understand that this isn't something wrong with us, we can stop resisting and start listening. You're not broken, you're not alone. And this quiet awakening, it might just be the first whisper of healing. When the body and mind go into overdrive, it usually begins quietly. You are lying there, eyes open, trying not to panic. But then a tiny flutter in your chest, a subtle tension in your shoulders, a sense that something inside you has shifted into high gear. Your heart picks up speed. Your breathing gets shallower, and your mind starts sprinting. Why am I awake again? What's wrong with me? Will I be exhausted tomorrow? Each thought is like a pebble dropped into water, creating ripples of worry that spread across your body. This is the moment your body goes into overdrive. Not because it's broken, but because it thinks it's protecting you. Let's talk about cortisol, the body's natural alertness hormone. Cortisol helps us wake up in the morning, focus throughout the day, and respond to stress when we need to. But it's also the same hormone that rises during the early hours of the morning, especially between 3 and 5 a.m. In younger years, your body balances cortisol with sleep-inducing hormones like melatonin. But as we age, that balance becomes more delicate. Melatonin levels decrease. Estrogen, which supports sleep, mood, and stress regulation, also fades. As a result, cortisol can sneak in too early, waking you up and tricking your body into thinking it's time to be on guard. What you're experiencing isn't random. It's your sympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for fight or flight, waking up before you're ready. It's scanning for problems, trying to keep you safe. Even when there's nothing to fear in the darkened room, you might feel like you're doing something wrong. But your body is doing what it knows best. It remembers every loss you've endured, every burden you have carried, and sometimes, during the stillness of early morning, it senses something unspoken, a memory, a worry, a wave of grief, and it responds. Not always gracefully, not always clearly, but from a place of protection. So no, this isn't insomnia. It's a message from a body that has been with you through decades of change, survival, caregiving, loving, and enduring. A body that doesn't always communicate with words, but always tries to tell you when something needs attention. The problem is we often meet that message with frustration. We get angry at ourselves. We turn on the TV, scroll the phone, or lie perfectly still, hoping to trick our brain into sleep. But the truth is, what you resist persists. And that's why this next part is so important. You don't need to fight your body. You can work with it gently, kindly, like you would with a friend who just needs to be heard in the middle of the night. Let's explore how. 1. Don't fight it, change your posture. Joan is 68 and has always prided herself on being calm and collected. But ever since retirement, and especially after the pandemic, her sleep has become unpredictable. She finds herself waking around 3:40 a.m., staring at the ceiling, hoping that if she just lies still enough, quiet enough, sleep will return. It never does. Then, one night, something shifted. Instead of forcing herself to lie frozen under the sheets, Joan sat up, slowly, carefully. She placed her feet on the floor, took a breath, and just paused. To her surprise, that simple act changed everything. You see, the longer we stay in bed while wide awake, the more our brain begins to associate that space with restlessness and anxiety, not sleep. The pressure to hurry up and fall asleep builds, and the mind spirals. Only 2 more hours left. Now only 1. Staying still becomes a silent battle, and your body responds with even more alertness. By changing your posture, you interrupt that cycle. You send a subtle but powerful message to your nervous system. I'm safe, I'm not stuck, I'm just awake, and that's okay. It doesn't mean turning on all the lights or launching into a new task. Sometimes it's as simple as propping up your pillows, placing your hands on your lap, and taking a few deep breaths. Let your body know it's allowed to be where it is. No struggle, no shame. This isn't defeat. This is self-compassion in motion. And often, it's all your body needs to begin softening again. 2. Breathe like you're calming a storm. Once you've shifted your posture, the next gentle step is this. Breathe, but not just any breath. We're talking about a slow, intentional rhythm that signals to your body, you're safe now. When you wake up in the early hours, your body may already be riding a quiet wave of cortisol, the alertness hormone. Your heart may beat a little faster. Your mind may be scanning for danger, even if none exists. And the fastest way to tell your body to stand down? Your breath. Try this technique. It's simple, but powerful. The 4-6 breath. Inhale gently through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for just 1 second. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat for 3 to 5 cycles. Think of your breath like a hand on your shoulder, steady, reassuring. You're not trying to do it perfectly. You're simply inviting your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural calming response, to step in and take over. This system, often called rest and digest, is the biological opposite of fight or flight. And when you activate it through slow, extended exhales, your heart rate begins to slow. Your muscles loosen. Your mind, once racing, begins to settle. Breath like this isn't just a tool, it's a lifeline back to calm. As one woman once told me, at 3:30 a.m., when everything feels louder, breathing this way makes me feel like I'm cradling myself from the inside out. So the next time the storm rises within you, breathe as if you're the calm in it. 3. Get curious, not frustrated. Waking up into the middle of the night can feel like a personal failure, as if your body has betrayed you or your brain has forgotten how to sleep. But what if, instead of frustration, you responded with curiosity? When you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., your first instinct might be to groan inwardly and tense up. Not again. But what if you gently asked yourself a few simple questions? Is my pillow too flat or too firm? Is the room too warm or maybe a bit chilly? Do I feel thirsty, hungry, cramped? Are the sheets tangled around my legs? These little discomforts might seem minor during the day, but at night they become magnified. One small source of irritation, a kink in the neck, a draft near the feet, can be just enough to nudge your body into wakefulness. And if left unaddressed, they feed the sense that something is wrong when it's actually adjustable. Try thinking like a gentle detective, not a defeated insomniac. If your pillow feels like a pancake, fluff it or switch it. If the room is stuffy, crack a window or adjust a fan. If your mouth is dry, sip a little water. These aren't fixes meant to force sleep. Instead, they're small acts of self-kindness, tuning into your environment like someone who cares deeply about your comfort, because you should. So the next time you wake up, instead of judging the moment, try asking softly that what needs a little adjusting right now? Because sometimes the smallest shift can make the biggest difference. 4. Write down what's on your mind. Sometimes what wakes us isn't noise, discomfort, or temperature. It's something we can't quite name. A thought that slipped through the cracks during the day, a worry we pushed down, a memory we weren't ready to face. That's why bedside journaling can be such a powerful practice. Not the kind with long, poetic reflections or structured pages, just a small notebook, nothing fancy, sitting quietly by your lamp, ready whenever you are. Linda, 70, started keeping one after she noticed she was waking up almost nightly at 3:47 a.m. She wasn't in pain, the room was quiet, but her mind, full. Questions about her daughter's health, the echo of her late husband's voice, a feeling she couldn't name. One night, she simply sat up, opened her notebook, and wrote 3 lines. I miss him tonight. I feel afraid of forgetting things. I hope tomorrow feels lighter. Then she closed the book, took a deep breath, and lay back down. And she did it again the next night, and the one after that. 2 weeks later, Linda noticed something had shifted. She still woke up, but now she didn't carry the thoughts with her into the dark. She gave them a home on the page, and in doing so, she gave herself peace. Writing doesn't have to be profound. It just needs to be honest. So if something's buzzing in your brain at 3:30 a.m., don't bottle it up. Let it out. Write it down. You might be surprised by how much quieter your mind becomes once it knows it's been heard. 5. Reframe the hour from burden to blessing. What if waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. wasn't a problem, but an invitation? We're often told that being awake at this hour is a sign something's wrong with our hormones, our stress, our age. But there's another way to look at it, one that's softer, quieter, and surprisingly more empowering. This window of time before the world stirs, before the sun rises, has long been called the sacred hour. In many spiritual and creative traditions, it's known as a space of deep intuition, stillness, and clarity. Not chaos, not restlessness, but openness. Toni Morrison, the great American author, once shared that she wrote some of her most powerful early work at 4 a.m., not because she chose to, but because she had no other time. Children to raise, a job to do, a world to carry, and yet those early hours became her creative sanctuary. You don't have to write novels, of course. But what if this hour, this unexpected gift of wakefulness, became a time to simply sit with yourself, to breathe, to reflect, to feel something you didn't have time to feel during the day? It's not about productivity, it's about presence. So instead of saying the why am I awake, try whispering, what is this moment offering me? Maybe it's the sound of stillness. Maybe it's a thought worth listening to. Maybe it's you reconnecting with yourself. The 3 to 5 a.m. hour may have started as a burden, but in the right light, with the right care, it just might become a blessing. If you find yourself waking between 3 and 5 a.m., night after night, maybe it's not a glitch in your system. Maybe it's an invitation. Not a reason to panic, but a reason to pause and listen. Your body isn't broken. It's wise. It's carried you through decades of love, loss, change, and growth. And sometimes in the stillness of early morning, it whispers the truths we're too busy to hear during the day. By shifting your posture, calming your breath, checking your environment, journaling your thoughts, or simply reframing the moment, you give yourself the gift of compassion over control. Remember, this hour doesn't have to be the loneliest. With just a few gentle changes, it can become the most meaningful. Have you ever woken up at this hour and found peace or frustration? Share your experience in the comments. Your voice matters. And if one of these tips helps you tonight, even just a little, come back and tell us. We'd love to hear. Sleep isn't always about shutting down. Sometimes it's about waking up to yourself.